You're just too fat for me. 5 words. 1 sentence. And Eden Morrison's entire world collapsed in the middle of Rosewood Cafe on a Tuesday night. But when her date threw cash at her like she was garbage, a widowed father at the next table stood up and changed everything. What happened next didn't just restore her dignity. It became the love story neither of them saw coming, and it started with the cruelest rejection imaginable. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss what happens next. Comment your city below so I can see how far this story reaches. Now, let's begin. I said, "You're too fat. Are you deaf or just stupid?" Trevor Mitchell's voice cut through the jazz music like a knife. Every conversation in Rosewood Cafe stopped. Forks froze mid-air. Coffee cups hovered at lips. 30 people pretended not to stare while absolutely staring. Eden Morrison felt her face burn. 32 years old. Pediatric oncology nurse. Spent her morning holding a dying 6-year-old's hand. And now this. Public humiliation by a man she'd met 20 minutes ago. "Trevor, please lower your voice." "Why you embarrassed?" He laughed. Actually laughed. "You should be embarrassed. My buddy showed me your old pictures. You looked good 2 years ago. What happened?" Eden's hands shook in her lap. She'd spent 2 hours getting ready. Changed her dress 4 times. This navy blue one was supposed to be slimming, supposed to hide the 40 pounds she'd gained during the pandemic, working 16-hour shifts, watching children die. "I've been working a lot." Working a lot or eating a lot? Trevor pulled out his wallet. "Let me be real with you because nobody else will. I'm a personal trainer. I have standards, physical standards. You don't meet them." Something inside Eden cracked. "Then why did you even sit down?" "Because Mark showed me photos from 2 years ago and said you were a catch." Trevor counted out bills. "False advertising, babe. That's on you." He threw 2 20s on the table. The bills landed in her water glass. "That covers my burger and your salad, which you barely touched, by the way. Probably should have actually eaten it. Might help with..." He gestured vaguely at her body. "All this." Eden couldn't breathe, couldn't move. The couple next to them whispered. The barista behind the counter looked away. 30 witnesses, and not one person said a word. Trevor grabbed his jacket. "Do yourself a favor. Hit the gym before the next guy. Trust me, it'll save everyone time." He walked out. The door chimed. The jazz kept playing, and Eden sat there drowning in front of 30 strangers who suddenly found their phones very interesting. She reached for the wet 20s with shaking hands. Had to get out. Had to leave before the tears came. Had to... That's enough. A man's voice, deep, angry. Eden looked up. A guy from the next table stood blocking Trevor's path to the exit. Tall, late 30s, wearing a faded blue shirt with paint stains on the sleeve. His jaw was clenched so tight Eden could see the muscle jumping. "Excuse me," Trevor said. "I said that's enough. You've humiliated her. Made your point. Now leave." "Who the hell are you?" "Someone who's had enough of watching you be cruel." Trevor laughed. "Oh man, you one of those white knight types gonna defend the fat girl's honor?" The man took 1 step forward. Just 1. But something in his eyes made Trevor step back. "Walk away," the man said quietly. "Right now." "Or what?" "Or I call over Marco." The man nodded toward a massive guy behind the counter wearing a Rosewood Cafe apron. "He's the owner. He's also my brother-in-law, and he really doesn't like men who make women cry in his restaurant." Marco cracked his knuckles. 250 pounds of Italian chef who looked ready to turn Trevor into marinara sauce. Trevor's confidence evaporated. Whatever, she's not worth it anyway. He left, this time for real. The man turned to Eden. "I'm sorry. I should have said something sooner." Eden wanted to die, wanted the floor to swallow her whole. "Please don't. Please just... Everyone's already staring." "Then let them stare." He walked to her table. I'm Calvin Rhodes. Can I sit? No. Please. I said no. I don't need pity. Good. I'm not offering pity. Calvin sat anyway. I'm offering dinner, because your food's cold and you didn't eat and that asshole doesn't get to ruin your Tuesday. Eden stared at him. You can't just sit down uninvited. I just did. Marco, Calvin called out. 2 lasagnas, extra cheese, and 2 tiramisus. You got it, Calvin, Marco shouted back. Eden felt tears burning. Why are you doing this? Because 6 months ago someone was kind to me when I needed it most. Now I'm paying it forward. I don't want your charity. It's not charity, it's dinner. Calvin met her eyes. My wife died 8 months ago. Bee sting. Anaphylaxis. She was laughing in our backyard 1 minute and gone 20 minutes later. Left me with a 7-year-old daughter who cries herself to sleep every night. Eden's anger deflated. I'm so sorry. Her first birthday without her mom was 3 weeks ago. Worst day of my life. I took my daughter Violet to the park and completely fell apart. Couldn't hold it together. Just sat on a bench crying while my kid tried to comfort me. Calvin's voice cracked. A stranger sat down. Older woman. She didn't say anything profound. Didn't give me advice. She just stayed. Shared her cookies. Asked Violet about her favorite color. Sat with us for an hour. That was kind. It saved us that day. So now I'm the stranger offering kindness. You don't have to accept it, but I'm offering. The food arrived. Steam rising. Cheese bubbling. Eden realized she was actually starving. One condition, she said. Name it. Stop looking at me like I'm broken. Calvin nodded. Deal. Stop looking at yourself like you're broken. They ate in silence for a minute. Then Eden said, I work at Memorial Hospital. Pediatric oncology nurse. Calvin's fork froze. Memorial, my wife Sarah worked there. Sarah Rhodes. Pediatric nurse. I knew Sarah. Eden sat up straighter. Not well, but I knew her. Always smiling. Always had butterscotch candy for the scared kids. She bought it in bulk. Calvin's eyes went distant. Said it made the IVs less scary. She was good at her job. Really good. She loved it. Loved those kids. Came home exhausted every night but never complained. He pushed pasta around his plate. I supported her. Brought dinner to the hospital. Took care of everything at home so she could focus on work. You know what she told me the night before she died? What? That she was lucky. That most women don't get partners who actually support their careers. Calvin looked up. So when you asked about that Paul guy earlier, I didn't ask about Paul. You thought about him, though, when I mentioned supporting my wife. Calvin smiled sadly. I could see it on your face. Some guy who didn't get it, who wanted you to choose between him and your calling. Eden's throat tightened. His name was Paul, accountant. Hated that I worked nights and weekends. Said I cared more about dying kids than our relationship. Did you? Yes. Good. Those kids need you more than he did. Something broke open in Eden's chest. 3 years of guilt. 3 years of wondering if Paul was right. If she was broken somehow. Wrong somehow. Thank you, she whispered. They finished dinner. Ordered coffee. Talked about Sarah's work. About the kids they'd both cared for. About the impossible weight of watching children suffer. Can I ask you something? Calvin said. And you can tell me to shut up if I'm overstepping. Okay. Why did you say yes to tonight? Eden laughed bitterly. My best friend Marcy. She's married with 3 kids and thinks everyone needs to be coupled up. Met Trevor at her gym. Said he was ambitious and fit. He's also an asshole. Yeah, that too. When's the last time you dated? 3 years, since Paul. Eden traced the rim of her coffee cup. I stopped trying after that. Figured I was better off alone. And tonight was supposed to prove you wrong. Tonight proved I was right. No. Calvin's voice went firm. Tonight proved Trevor's an asshole. That's all it proved. Eden wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe one cruel man didn't define her worth. But Trevor's words kept echoing. Too fat. Embarrassing. False advertising. I should go, she said abruptly. Thank you for dinner, really, but I should... Wait. Calvin pulled out his phone. Can I show you something? He turned the screen toward her. A little girl with dark curls and gap-toothed grin held up a drawing of a rainbow. This is Violet. She wants to be a nurse like her mom. Talks about it constantly. Asks questions I can't answer because I don't know what nurses actually do. Calvin pocketed his phone. Would you be willing to talk to her just coffee? Just conversation. It would mean everything. Eden hesitated. Getting involved with a grieving child felt heavy, complicated, dangerous. But then she looked at Calvin's hopeful face and remembered Sarah's butterscotch candy and thought about all the scared kids she'd comforted over the years. Yeah, okay, I can do that. Calvin's entire face transformed. Really? Really? They exchanged numbers, made plans for Saturday morning, neutral territory, just coffee, just conversation. Outside on the sidewalk, Eden paused. Calvin, why did you really sit down? He thought about it. Because I have a daughter, and someday she'll be a woman sitting in a restaurant while some asshole tears her apart. And I hope to God when that happens someone stands up for her. So I'm trying to be the person I hope exists for Violet. He walked away before Eden could respond. She drove home in silence. Her apartment felt emptier than usual. She changed into pajamas and collapsed on her couch. Her phone buzzed. Marcy. How'd it go? Tell me everything. Eden stared at the message. How did she explain tonight? She typed, Trevor was horrible. But something else happened. Call you tomorrow. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Reappeared. Then, what else? You can't leave me hanging. Did you meet someone? Eden smiled, despite everything. Maybe. Long story. I want the long story. Tomorrow. Promise. She turned off her phone and closed her eyes. She should have been crying. Should have been replaying Trevor's cruelty on repeat. Instead, she kept thinking about Calvin's daughter. About his dead wife who loved butterscotch. About the way he'd stood up to Trevor without being asked. The next morning, Eden woke to a text from an unknown number. This is Calvin. Violet wants to know if you like unicorns. Apparently, this is very important information. Eden smiled at her phone. Love unicorns, obviously. Good answer. She's drawing you one right now. Fair warning, it might be terrifying. I work in pediatric oncology. I've seen worse. Fair point. Saturday 10 a.m. Moonbeans Coffee near the hospital. I know it. See you there. Eden got ready for work, feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Small and fragile and terrifying. But there. She drove to Memorial Hospital and walked through the automatic doors. Her co-worker Donna looked up from the nurse's station. You're smiling. What happened? Nothing. That's not a nothing smile. Had an interesting night. Good interesting or bad interesting? Eden thought about Trevor, about Calvin, about the strange alchemy that turned humiliation into hope. Both, but the good won. Her shift started. The familiar rhythm took over. Checking vitals, administering medications, holding small hands during painful procedures. She loved this job. Loved these kids who fought so hard, who smiled through agony, who taught her more about courage than any adult ever had. During lunch, her phone buzzed. Calvin had sent a photo. A crayon drawing of a rainbow unicorn with wobbly legs and a lopsided horn. The caption read, As promised, she made me write for Nurse Eden at the top 3 times because I didn't make the letters pretty enough. Eden set it as her phone background. Friday evening, Marcy showed up at her apartment unannounced, barged in without knocking, dropped 2 bottles of wine on the counter. Okay, spill. Everything. Now. Eden told her. All of it. Trevor's cruelty. Calvin's intervention. The dinner. The daughter. The coffee date tomorrow. Marcy listened with growing horror. Trevor said what? Marcy. Give me his number. I'm gonna destroy him. Destroy. I'm gonna tell everyone at the gym. I'm gonna leave 1-star reviews everywhere. I'm gonna... Marcy, stop. That absolute bastard. I set you up with him. I vouched for him. Marcy paced the kitchen. I saw him at the gym every day. He seemed nice, ambitious, fit. He's also an asshole. Clearly. Marcy poured wine with shaking hands. I'm so sorry. God. Eden, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. It is my fault. I pushed you. Said you needed to get back out there. Said Trevor was perfect. Marcy drank half her glass in one gulp. And now some random stranger had to rescue you because I set you up with a monster. He's not a monster. He's just cruel. That's worse somehow. Marcy refilled her glass. Tell me about this Calvin guy, the widower. Eden told her. About Sarah, about Violet, about the butterscotch candy, and the grief, and the unexpected kindness. Marcy listened quietly, then said, Be careful. What? I mean it. Be careful. This guy lost his wife 8 months ago. He's got a grieving kid. That's a lot of baggage. I'm not looking for a relationship. He just wants me to talk to his daughter about nursing. Eden, come on. A handsome widower rescues you from a nightmare date and asks for your number. That's not about nursing. You don't know that. I know men, and I know you. You're gonna catch feelings. Then you're gonna get hurt when he's not ready. Then I'm gonna have to bring more wine. Eden wanted to argue, wanted to say Marcy was wrong, but she couldn't, because Marcy knew her too well. Saturday arrived bright and clear. Eden changed outfits 4 times before settling on jeans and a cream sweater. Casual, friendly, not trying too hard. She got to Moonbeans 15 minutes early, ordered a latte, found a table near the window, checked her phone obsessively. They arrived exactly on time. Calvin walked in holding a little girl's hand. Dark curls like her mother, serious eyes like her father. Purple dress with mismatched socks and a stuffed unicorn under her arm. Violet, this is Eden, Calvin said gently. Violet stared at Eden with the brutal honesty of childhood. You knew my mom. A little bit, yes. Are you here because you feel sorry for us? Calvin's face went red. Violet. It's okay. Eden knelt down to Violet's level. I'm here because your dad asked me to talk to you about nursing, and because I like unicorns. Is that okay? Violet considered this carefully. What's your favorite unicorn color? Purple, like your dress. That's my favorite too. Violet's face softened slightly. Okay, you can stay. They ordered hot chocolate for Violet and more coffee for the adults. Violet launched into an interrogation. What's the hardest part of nursing? Do you get scared? What happens when kids cry? Did you really know my mom? What was she like? Eden answered honestly. She talked about the fear and the joy and the privilege of caring for children during their hardest moments. When Violet asked about Sarah, Eden told her the truth. Your mom made every kid feel safe, even the really sick ones, especially the really sick ones. She had this way of talking to them like they were brave warriors, made them feel strong even when they felt weak. Violet's eyes filled with tears. I miss her. I know, sweetheart. That's okay. Everyone says it's okay to be sad, but it doesn't feel okay. It feels bad. Being sad means you loved someone a lot. That's actually a beautiful thing, even though it hurts. Violet climbed into her father's lap and buried her face in his chest. Calvin held her tight, blinking back his own tears. After a moment, Violet looked up at Eden. Do you have a family? Not really. It's just me. That's sad. Sometimes, but I have good friends, and I have the kids I take care of at work. But you're lonely. The question hit Eden like a punch. Yeah, I'm lonely. You can be lonely with us, Violet said seriously. That's what Daddy says. It's better to be lonely with people than lonely by yourself. Calvin's eyes met Eden's over his daughter's head. Something passed between them. Understanding, recognition, two lonely people finding each other in the wreckage. Will you come to dinner? Violet asked. We have spaghetti on Tuesdays. Daddy makes it from scratch and it's really good. Eden's heart squeezed. I don't want to intrude. Please. Violet's bottom lip trembled. We never have visitors, just me and Daddy, and it's too quiet. Eden looked at Calvin for guidance. He mouthed, only if you want to. And Eden realized she wanted to. Wanted it more than she'd wanted anything in a long time. Spaghetti sounds perfect. Violet's entire face lit up. Tuesday arrived. Eden showed up at their house at 6 p.m. sharp. Small ranch-style home with a well-kept yard and a wooden swing in the tree out front. She brought wine and homemade brownies and tried to ignore the nervous flutter in her stomach. Calvin answered the door in an apron covered in flour. She's been talking about you all week. Fair warning, you're basically a celebrity now. Inside the house was lived in. Warm. Photos everywhere. Sarah smiling from every wall. Violet's drawings covered the fridge, the hallway even taped to the bathroom door. Evidence of grief being survived day by day. Eden. Violet came running. I set the table fancy. Come see. The table was chaos. Mismatched plates. Paper napkins folded into triangles. Plastic cups next to wine glasses. A crayon drawing of a unicorn as the centerpiece. It's perfect, Eden said. Dinner was loud and wonderful. Violet chattered non-stop. Calvin's spaghetti was actually incredible. They laughed, told stories. For 2 hours, Eden forgot about Trevor, about loneliness, about everything except this moment. After dinner, Violet grabbed Eden's hand. Come see my room. I want to show you my drawings. The walls were covered in art, mostly of her mother. Sarah as an angel with rainbow wings. Sarah as a superhero flying. Sarah as a mermaid under the sea. Every version of love a child could imagine. I draw her so I don't forget what she looked like, Violet whispered. Eden's throat closed. You won't forget. I promise. How do you know? Because love doesn't work like that. Your mom lives right here. Eden pointed to Violet's heart. Forever. That's what Daddy says too. Your daddy's right. Violet studied her drawings. Sometimes I get scared that one day I'll wake up and won't remember her voice, or her smile, or the way she smelled like vanilla. Then you tell your dad, and he'll help you remember. That's what he's there for. Do you think... Violet hesitated. Do you think Mommy would be mad that Daddy's friends with you? And there it was, the real question, the fear underneath everything. Eden sat on the floor next to her. I think your mom would want your dad to have friends, would want him to be happy, would want him to not be lonely, don't you? Yeah. Then I think she'd be okay with it. Are you Daddy's girlfriend? No, I'm Daddy's friend, that's all. Oh. Violet sounded disappointed. I thought maybe you could be our family. Eden's heart cracked wide open. Families come in all shapes, kiddo. Sometimes family is people who choose to be together, who choose to show up, who choose to be lonely together instead of lonely apart. So you're choosing us? Yeah, I'm choosing you guys. Violet threw her arms around Eden's neck. Good, because I'm choosing you too. That night marked the beginning. What started as coffee became regular. Tuesday dinners became daily text messages. Became a slow, careful building of something neither Eden nor Calvin had names for yet. Eden taught Violet about the human body using kid-friendly diagrams. Calvin taught Eden basic woodworking in his garage. The three of them went to parks and museums and movies, built a routine, created traditions. But through it all, Eden kept waiting. For Calvin to realize she wasn't Sarah. For Violet to reject her as a replacement mother. For the whole fragile thing to shatter like glass. 6 weeks of Tuesday dinners, 42 days of text messages, 3 trips to the Children's Museum. And somewhere between week 5 and week 6, Eden realized the truth she'd been avoiding. She was falling in love with Calvin Rhodes, and she had absolutely no idea if he felt the same way. The realization hit Eden on a Wednesday morning while she was checking a 7-year-old's vitals. The girl asked if nurses were allowed to fall in love, and Eden's hands froze on the blood pressure cuff. "Of course they are, sweetheart. Why do you ask?" "Because you look like the princess in my book. The one who's scared to tell the prince she loves him." Eden finished the checkup on autopilot. Walked to the break room. Sat down. Stared at her phone where Calvin's latest text glowed. "Violet wants to know if you're coming for spaghetti tonight. She made place cards with our names. Yours has 17 glitter hearts." She was falling in love with a widower whose wife she'd known. Falling in love with his daughter who still drew pictures of her dead mother every single day. Falling in love with a life that wasn't meant for her. Eden typed back, "Can't tonight. Work emergency. Sorry." It was a lie. Her shift ended at 4, but panic was setting in hard and fast. Calvin responded immediately. "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just busy." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, "Okay, tomorrow. Maybe. I'll let you know." She turned off her phone. That night, Eden sat alone in her apartment eating cereal for dinner and hating herself. This was why she didn't date, why she'd stayed single for 3 years. Because eventually, she'd mess it up. Eventually, she'd want too much. Eventually, she'd ruin the good thing. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Buzzed again. And again. Finally, she looked. 7 texts from Calvin. Not pushy, just worried. "Hey, you okay? Violet's asking about you. If work is overwhelming, I get it. Sarah used to disappear into shifts for days. Just want to make sure you're all right. Call me if you need anything, even just to vent. We miss you, that's all. Good night, Eden. Sleep well." Eden read them 3 times, then threw her phone across the room. Thursday, she called in sick. First time in 2 years. Spent the day in bed scrolling through photos on her phone. Calvin and Violet at the museum. The 3 of them at the park. Violet's drawings. Calvin's smile. She was going to ruin this. Better to ruin it now before Violet got more attached. Before Calvin realized Eden was just another failed relationship waiting to happen. Friday morning, Marcy showed up banging on her door. "I know you're in there. Donna called me, said you never miss work." Eden opened the door. "I'm fine." "You look like hell." Marcy pushed past her. "What happened?" "Nothing happened." "Eden Morrison, I've known you for 12 years. Something happened." Marcy surveyed the apartment. Empty cereal bowls, tissues everywhere, phone face down on the floor. "Oh God, what did Calvin do?" "Calvin didn't do anything." "Then why do you look like someone died?" "Because I'm an idiot." Eden collapsed on the couch. "I caught feelings. Real feelings. And now, I don't know how to uncatch them." Marcy sat next to her. "Why would you want to uncatch them?" "Because it's been 8 weeks, Marcy. 8 weeks since his wife died. No, 8 months. 8 weeks since we met. That's not enough time. He's not ready. I'm not ready. Violet's not ready. Or maybe you're all exactly ready and you're just scared." "Of course I'm scared." His wife was perfect. Actual saint. Worked at the same hospital. Loved kids. Made him happy. I can't compete with a ghost. He's not asking you to compete. Not yet. But eventually he'll compare us, and I'll come up short. Eden pulled her knees to her chest. I'm too much work, Mars. Too damaged. Too fat. Too... Stop. Marcy's voice went sharp. Trevor said you were too fat. One asshole's opinion 8 weeks ago. Are you really going to let him win? This isn't about Trevor. The hell it isn't. You were fine until that night. You were putting yourself out there, and then he destroyed you, and now you're destroying yourself all over again. Marcy grabbed her shoulders. Calvin isn't Trevor. He's shown you who he is. Every single day for 8 weeks. Why can't you believe him? Because I've been hurt before. By Paul. The accountant who couldn't handle your career. He was 3 years ago, Eden. Let it go. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. You're choosing fear over happiness. You're choosing to be alone rather than risk being hurt. Marcy stood up. And you know what? That's your choice. But don't punish Calvin and Violet for it. They deserve better than ghosting. She left. The door clicked shut. Eden sat in the silence of her apartment and knew Marcy was right. About all of it. She picked up her phone. 23 messages from Calvin over 3 days. She read them all. Each one more worried than the last. Each one proving Marcy's point. The most recent one sent an hour ago. Eden, please. Just tell me if I did something wrong. I can't fix it if I don't know what it is. Violet thinks you're mad at her. She cried herself to sleep last night asking what she did to make you leave. Please, just talk to me. Eden's hands shook. She'd hurt them both by running away. She typed, I'm sorry. You didn't do anything wrong. Neither did Violet. Can we talk? His response came in seconds. Yes, when? Now. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Send me your address. Eden looked around her disaster apartment. Cereal bowls, tissues, 3-day-old pajamas. She sent the address anyway. 20 minutes later, exactly Calvin knocked. Eden opened the door and his face went from relief to concern in a heartbeat. What happened? Nothing. Can you come in? He walked inside, took in the mess, turned to her with those kind eyes that saw too much. Eden, talk to me. I can't do this. The words tumbled out. I can't be what you need. What Violet needs. I'm going to disappoint you, and it's better if we just... Stop. Calvin's voice was firm. Whatever you're about to say, stop. Take a breath, and tell me what's really going on. Eden's eyes burned. I'm falling in love with you. And I can't. I can't do that. Because you're not ready, and Violet's not ready, and I'm definitely not ready. And this whole thing is a disaster waiting to happen. Silence. Calvin stared at her, processing. Then he started laughing. Eden's stomach dropped. Are you seriously laughing right now? I'm sorry. Calvin ran his hands through his hair. It's just, Eden, I've been falling in love with you since the night we met. I thought you knew. I thought I was being obvious. What? Why do you think I texted you every single day? Why do you think I invited you to every Tuesday dinner? Why do you think I introduced you to my daughter? Calvin stepped closer. I wasn't looking for a friend, Eden. I was looking for you. But Sarah's gone. I loved her. I'll always love her. But she's gone and I'm still here and life is still happening. His voice cracked. And then you showed up. This brilliant, kind, damaged woman who understood grief and loneliness and what it's like to give everything to your job. And I thought maybe, just maybe God or the universe or whatever was giving me a second chance. Eden couldn't breathe. You can't mean that. Why not? Because I'm not Sarah. I'll never be Sarah. I'm difficult and broken and I work too much and I'm exactly what I need. Calvin closed the distance between them. I don't want Sarah back. I want you. Difficult, broken, workaholic you. The woman who showed my daughter that nursing is heroic. The woman who texts me at 2 a.m. when she loses a patient. The woman who laughs at my terrible jokes and cries during kids' movies. That's who I want. What about Violet? Violet asks me every single day when you're coming back. Drew 17 glitter hearts on your place card. Told me last night that if I messed this up, she'd never forgive me. Calvin's smile was soft. She chose you too, Eden. We both did. The tears came then, fast and hard. Eden tried to hide them, but Calvin pulled her into his chest and just held her. Let her cry. Let her shake. Let her fall apart. I'm so scared, she whispered into his shirt. Me too. What if I'm not enough? What if you're exactly enough? They stood there in her disaster apartment holding each other like drowning people. Finally, Eden pulled back. I'm sorry I disappeared. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner how I felt. I thought I was imagining it. You weren't. You aren't. Calvin wiped a tear from her cheek. Can we start over? Not from the beginning. From right here. From the truth. What truth? That I'm falling in love with you, and I'm terrified, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I want to figure it out together. Eden's heart felt too big for her chest. Together. If you'll have me. She kissed him. Quick and scared and imperfect. He kissed her back, gentle and patient and sure. When they broke apart, Calvin was smiling. So, tomorrow's Saturday. What if we tried something different? Like what? Like a real date, just you and me, no Violet, no hospital talk, just dinner and a movie and holding hands like normal people. We're not normal people. Even better, weird date for weird people. Eden laughed through her tears. Okay. Yeah. Calvin left an hour later with plans for Saturday night. Eden cleaned her apartment, showered, changed, texted Marcy, "You were right, about everything." Marcy's response, "I knew it. Tell me everything." Tomorrow, promise. That night, Eden slept better than she had in 3 days. Saturday morning, Violet video called. Eden. Daddy said you're coming back. I am. I'm so sorry, sweetie. It's okay. Daddy said grown-ups get scared sometimes and need space. Are you not scared anymore? Still scared. But I'm brave enough to try anyway. Like the kids at the hospital. Exactly like them. Violet beamed. Good, because I missed you. Can we have Tuesday spaghetti again? Absolutely. And can we make cookies? Whatever you want. After the call ended, Eden stared at her closet. What did you wear on a first date with a man you'd already fallen in love with? Nothing felt right. Everything felt wrong. Finally, she texted Calvin. What should I wear? Something comfortable. We're not going anywhere fancy. That doesn't help. You could wear a garbage bag and I'd still think you're beautiful. Eden smiled at her phone. Smooth talker. I try. Pick you up at 6. I'll be ready. She wore jeans and a green sweater. Minimal makeup. Her nice boots. When Calvin knocked at 6 sharp, his eyes lit up. You look perfect. You're biased. Completely. He offered his arm. Ready. They drove to a small Italian place on the outskirts of town. Family-owned. Red checkered tablecloths. Candles in wine bottles. Calvin ordered for them both without asking, and somehow got it exactly right. How'd you know I'd want the chicken marsala? Sarah always said you can tell everything about a person by what they eat. You're a comfort food person. Warm, familiar, safe. And what does that say about me? That you've been hurt. That you play it safe because risk feels dangerous. That underneath the caution, you're someone who just wants to be loved without conditions. Eden's fork stopped midway to her mouth. That's terrifyingly accurate. I pay attention. They ate slowly, talked about everything and nothing. Eden told him about her worst day at the hospital. Calvin told her about the time Violet flushed his wedding ring down the toilet by accident. They laughed until their sides hurt. After dinner, Calvin drove them to the overlook outside town, parked facing the city lights. I used to bring Sarah here, he said quietly. Before Violet, when we were just dating, she'd make fun of me for being romantic. Is this weird bringing me here? No, it's right. He turned to her. Sarah would have liked you, would have loved that Violet has someone besides me, would have wanted me to be happy. How do you know? Because I knew her, and she knew me, and she knew I couldn't do this alone forever. Calvin reached for Eden's hand. I'm allowed to love her and move forward. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. I don't know how to do this. How to date someone with a child. How to be careful with both your hearts. Neither do I. We'll figure it out. They sat in comfortable silence watching the city below. Then Calvin said, Can I tell you something? And you promise not to run away again. I promise. That night at Rosewood, when I sat down at your table, I didn't just do it because it was the right thing. He paused. I did it because I looked over and saw you crying and thought you were the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. And I know that sounds crazy because you were devastated, and I'm a widower and the whole thing was a mess. That is crazy. I know, but it's true. And then we started talking, and you were brilliant and kind and sad in the same way I'm sad. And I thought maybe we could be sad together instead of sad apart. Eden squeezed his hand. Violet said the same thing, about being lonely together. She's a smart kid. She got it from you. She got it from her mother. They kissed again. Slower this time, deeper. 7 years of loneliness between them melting into something new. When they finally came up for air, Calvin rested his forehead against hers. So, are we doing this? Really doing this? I think we are. Good. Because I already told Violet, and she made a banner that says, Welcome to the family Eden. It's very glittery. There's no backing out now. Eden laughed. When did you tell her? This morning. She screamed so loud the neighbors called to check if everything was okay. She's really okay with this, with me. Eden. She's been planning our wedding since week 3. I'm pretty sure she has the whole thing mapped out, including a unicorn cake. A unicorn cake. A unicorn cake. They drove back to Eden's apartment. Calvin walked her to the door like a teenager on prom night. Can I see you tomorrow? He asked. You're seeing me Tuesday for spaghetti. I know, but that's 3 days away. Too long. Okay, tomorrow. Lunch. Lunch. He kissed her one more time, sweet and promising. Good night, Eden. Good night, Calvin. She watched him drive away, floated into her apartment, called Marcy. Tell me everything right now. Eden told her. All of it. The confession, the fear, the date, the kiss, the banner Violet made. When she finished, Marcy was crying. I'm so happy for you, so incredibly happy. Me too. And also terrified. That's how you know it's real. They talked for another hour. By the time Eden hung up, it was past midnight. She got ready for bed feeling lighter than she had in years. Her phone buzzed. Calvin, made it home. Violet wants to know if you like chocolate chip or sugar cookies better. This is apparently urgent. Chocolate chip, obviously. She says you passed the test, whatever that means. Tell her I said good night. She's already asleep, literally fell asleep mid-sentence talking about you. I'll tell her in the morning. Calvin. Yeah. Thank you. For not giving up on me when I disappeared. Thank you for coming back. Eden fell asleep smiling. For the first time in 3 years, the future didn't feel terrifying. It felt possible. And that was enough. Sunday lunch turned into Sunday brunch that lasted until 3 in the afternoon. Calvin made pancakes while Eden sat at his kitchen counter drinking coffee and watching him cook. Violet sat between them, coloring a picture of the 3 of them holding hands. Is this what dating looks like? Eden asked. Just hanging out in kitchens. When you're a single parent. Yeah, pretty much. Calvin flipped a pancake. Romance looks different when you have a 7-year-old chaperone. I can hear you, Violet said without looking up from her drawing. And I'm a very good chaperone. Aunt Linda said so. When did Aunt Linda say that? When you went on that date with the lady from the library. I told her you held hands, and she said I was a good chaperone for noticing. Calvin's face went red. That was one time, months ago, and it was not a date. You held hands. She was slipping on ice. I was being polite. Eden laughed. You have a chaperone who reports to Aunt Linda. Good to know. Aunt Linda is Daddy's sister, Violet explained. She lives in Portland and calls every Sunday and asks too many questions. As if on cue, Calvin's phone rang. He looked at the screen and groaned. Speaking of. Don't answer it, Violet said. She'll want to talk forever. I have to answer it. She'll just keep calling. Calvin picked up. Hey, Linda? Even from across the kitchen, Eden could hear the excited shrieking. Calvin held the phone away from his ear. Yes, there's someone here. No, I'm not telling you her name yet. Because you'll Google her and call all your friends. Linda, I'm serious. No. He paused. Fine. Her name is Eden. She's a nurse. Yes, at Memorial. No, she did not work directly with Sarah, but she knew her. Can we not do this right now? Violet whispered to Eden. Aunt Linda's going to love you. She loves everyone Daddy dates. How many people has your dad dated? Just you and the library lady who fell on ice, but Aunt Linda gets excited easy. Calvin was pacing now. I'm not putting her on the phone, because we just started dating and you're terrifying. I said you're terrifying. Don't cry, you know it's true. He sighed. Fine, 30 seconds. 30. I'm timing you. He handed the phone to Eden with an apologetic look. I'm sorry in advance. Eden took the phone. Hello. Oh my God, you sound beautiful. Are you beautiful? Calvin, is she beautiful? Don't answer that. Of course she's beautiful. My brother has excellent taste even though he's an idiot. Eden, tell me everything. How did you meet? Are you good to him? Are you good to Violet? Do you like kids? Obviously, you like kids. You're a pediatric nurse. Sarah was a pediatric nurse too. Did you know Sarah? Calvin said you knew Sarah? Was she nice to you? Of course she was nice. Sarah was nice to everyone. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I get excited. Are you coming to Thanksgiving? You should come to Thanksgiving. I'll make my sweet potato casserole. Do you like sweet potatoes? Eden blinked. I like sweet potatoes. Perfect. You're coming to Thanksgiving. Calvin, she's coming to Thanksgiving. Don't argue with me. Okay, I'll let you go. It was so nice to meet you. Take care of my brother. He acts tough, but he's soft inside. Bye. The line went dead. Eden handed the phone back to Calvin. That was intense. Told you, she's a lot. Calvin pocketed his phone. You don't have to come to Thanksgiving. She just gets ahead of herself. It's only October. Thanksgiving is a month away. Exactly. Plenty of time for her to plan an entire wedding in her head. Violet looked up. Are you getting married? No. Calvin and Eden said simultaneously. But maybe someday. Violet pressed. Let's eat pancakes, Calvin said firmly, and stop interrogating Eden. They ate pancakes smothered in syrup. Violet chattered about school. Calvin told embarrassing stories from his construction job. Eden felt herself relaxing into the rhythm of their family. It was easy, natural, like she'd always been there. But later driving home, the doubts crept back in. Thanksgiving was a month away. Meeting the extended family. Being evaluated by Calvin's sister, who apparently loved everyone he dated. All 3 people he'd dated in 8 months. Eden's phone rang. Marcy. Hey, what's up? Quick question. Are you busy Tuesday? Tuesday's spaghetti night with Calvin and Violet. Why? Because I ran into someone at Target. Someone you know. Eden's stomach dropped. Who? Paul. Your ex. The accountant. Oh God. Wait. It gets better. He asked about you. Said he heard through mutual friends that you're dating someone. Asked if it was serious. What did you tell him? I told him you're deliriously happy and he missed his chance. Then I may have accidentally run my cart into his shin. Despite everything, Eden smiled. You didn't. I absolutely did. Anyway, he said he wants to talk to you. Said he's been doing therapy, working on himself. Wants to apologize. I don't want his apology. I told him that too, but he gave me his number in case you change your mind. Marcy paused. You're not going to change your mind, right? No, I'm happy. I'm finally happy. Good, because this Calvin guy sounds perfect, and I will physically fight Paul if he tries to mess this up. They talked for a few more minutes before hanging up. Eden sat in her car outside her apartment building thinking about Paul. 3 years ago, he'd told her she was too much, too focused on work, too unavailable, too damaged to love properly. And she'd believed him. Spent 3 years proving him right by staying single, by convincing herself she was better off alone, until Trevor destroyed her in public and Calvin showed her another way. Her phone buzzed. Calvin. Violet says thank you for brunch. Also says you need to come over more because I'm a better cook when you're here. That's not suspicious at all. She's not subtle, one of her many charms. Same time next week. Definitely. Tuesday arrived. Eden showed up at 6 with ingredients for chocolate chip cookies. Violet answered the door already covered in flour. We started without you. I couldn't wait. I see that. Eden stepped inside. Where's your dad? On the phone. Someone from work called about a job. Violet grabbed her hand. Come on. I measured everything myself. The kitchen was chaos. Flour everywhere. Eggshells in the bowl. Chocolate chips spilled across the counter. Calvin stood in the corner talking quietly into his phone, his face serious. Violet, what recipe are you using? The one from my head. I remembered chocolate chips and flour and eggs. What about sugar or butter? Violet's eyes went wide. Oh no, I forgot sugar. That's okay. We'll start over. Eden began cleaning up the mess. Why don't you get the recipe from your dad's cookbook? Can't. Daddy's using it as a coaster. Eden looked over. Sure enough, Calvin had his coffee mug sitting directly on an old cookbook. She walked over and mouthed, "Everything okay?" He nodded, but his jaw was tight. Into the phone, he said, "I understand. No, I get it. It's just bad timing. Yeah, I'll figure something out. Thanks for letting me know." He hung up, stared at the phone. What happened? Eden asked. Big job I was supposed to start next month just got pushed to next week. 3 weeks in Denver. Full renovation on a commercial building. That's good, right? Work. It's great money. Money I really need, but it means leaving Violet. 3 weeks right before Thanksgiving. Calvin rubbed his face. My usual sitter is on vacation. Linda's in Portland. Sarah's parents are too old to handle a 7-year-old full-time. What about friends? Most of my friends have their own kids and jobs. I can't ask them to take Violet for 3 weeks. Violet appeared next to them. I heard my name. Am I in trouble? No, baby, just grown-up stuff. Calvin knelt down to her level. How would you feel about staying with Aunt Linda for a few weeks? In Portland, I'd miss school, and my friends, and Tuesday spaghetti. Violet's bottom lip trembled. And Eden. I know, but Daddy has to work. Can't you work here? Not this time. Violet turned to Eden. Can I stay with you? Eden's heart stopped. Calvin's head snapped up. They stared at each other over Violet's head. Sweetheart, Eden has work too, Calvin said carefully. She can't just take 3 weeks off. But I could come after school and sleep over, and Eden could take me to school in the morning. Violet looked between them with hopeful eyes. Please, I don't want to go to Portland. I want to stay here. Violet, that's too much to ask. Is it? Eden heard herself say. I mean, I work 12-hour shifts, but I could adjust my schedule. Work nights instead of days. Be home when she needs me. Calvin stood slowly. Eden, you can't. That's too much. Why? You said you needed help. I'm offering help. You've known us for 2 months. So taking care of someone's kid for 3 weeks is huge. It's not babysitting, it's parenting. The word hung between them. Parenting. Eden hadn't thought about it like that. She'd just heard Violet's plea and responded. But Calvin was right. 3 weeks was a long time. 3 weeks was more than helping. It was stepping into a role she wasn't sure she was ready for. I could do it, she said quietly. If you trust me. Calvin looked at her for a long moment. It's not about trust. It's about not wanting to scare you away. This is a lot. We're a lot. I know. Do you? Because dating a single parent is one thing. Taking care of their child while they're gone is completely different. I work with sick kids every day. I can handle one healthy 7-year-old. It's not the same and you know it. Those kids go home at the end of your shift. Violet would be your responsibility. Every morning, every night. Homework, meals, bedtime, everything. Eden felt panic rising but pushed it down. I can do it. But should you? Calvin's voice softened. We've been dating for 3 days officially. This is too much too fast. Maybe. But what's your other option? He didn't have an answer. They all stood in the flower-covered kitchen in silence. Finally, Violet said, I'll be really good, I promise. I'll eat all my vegetables and do my homework without complaining, and I won't ask for ice cream before bed. You always ask for ice cream before bed, Calvin said. This time I really won't. Violet grabbed Eden's hand. Please, I really want to stay here. With you. Eden looked at this little girl who'd lost her mother and was trying so hard to be brave. Looked at Calvin, who was trying to protect everyone, including Eden, from his messy, complicated life. Let me think about it, Eden said. Just give me 24 hours to think about it. Calvin nodded. That's fair. They made cookies in tense silence. Well, Violet made cookies. Calvin and Eden pretended to help while avoiding each other's eyes. The cookies came out perfect but tasted like anxiety. Eden left early. Said she had an early shift. It was a lie, but nobody called her on it. At home she paced her apartment. 3 weeks with Violet. 3 weeks of being responsible for someone else's child. Someone else's grief-stricken child who still drew pictures of her dead mother and cried herself to sleep some nights. What if she messed up? What if Violet had a breakdown and Eden didn't know how to handle it? What if something happened and Calvin blamed her? What if this was the thing that proved she wasn't cut out for this kind of life? Her phone rang. Marcy. I'm freaking out, Eden said immediately. About what? Eden explained. The job. The 3 weeks. Violet's plea. Calvin's hesitation. Her own agreement that now felt insane. When she finished, Marcy was quiet for a long time. Then she said, Do you want to do it? I don't know. That's not what I asked. Do you want to do it? Eden thought about Violet's face, about Tuesday spaghetti dinners, about being part of something bigger than herself. Yeah, I want to. Then do it. What if I can't handle it? Then you'll figure it out. That's what parents do. They figure it out. I'm not a parent. You would be for 3 weeks. The word still scared her. Parent. She'd never thought of herself as parent material. Nurse, yes. Caretaker, absolutely. But parent felt permanent, real, terrifying. What if Calvin's right? Eden asked. What if this is too much, too fast, and it ruins everything? What if it doesn't? What if this is exactly what you all need? Eden wanted to believe that, wanted to believe she was capable of this. But doubt was a powerful thing. That night she barely slept, kept thinking about Violet's hopeful face, about Calvin's worried eyes, about all the ways this could go wrong. Wednesday morning she called Calvin. "I'll do it. If you still want me to." She heard him exhale. "Are you sure?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." "Eden, I want to be there for you, for both of you. Let me try." Another long pause. Then, "Okay, but if at any point it's too much you tell me, I'll figure something else out." "Deal." "I leave Monday. That gives us 5 days to prepare." 5 days. Okay, what do I need to know? They talked for an hour. Violet's routines, her favorite foods, her fears and triggers, the therapy appointments Eden would need to drive her to, the school pickup schedule, emergency contacts, everything. By the end of the call, Eden's head was spinning. But she'd committed. She was doing this. Thursday. Calvin brought Violet over to Eden's apartment so she could see where she'd be staying. Violet walked through the small space with a critical eye. "You don't have any toys." "I don't usually have kids over." "And you only have one bedroom. Where will I sleep?" "On the couch. I have an air mattress we can set up. It'll be like camping." Violet considered this. "I've never been camping." "Then it'll be an adventure. Will you read to me before bed? Every night. And make breakfast. Every morning. And help me with math homework. I'm really bad at math." "I'm actually pretty good at math. We'll figure it out together." Violet climbed onto the couch, bounced a few times, testing it. "Okay, I think this will work." Eden felt a weight lift slightly. Yeah, but can we paint my nails? Mommy used to paint my nails every Friday." The casual mention of Sarah made Eden's chest tighten. "Of course we can." Calvin watched them from the doorway with an expression Eden couldn't read. Pride. Fear both. Friday. Eden adjusted her work schedule, switched to night shifts for the next 3 weeks. It would be brutal but doable. Her co-workers asked questions she deflected. Saturday, she and Calvin took Violet shopping for things she'd need. A new backpack, extra clothes, the specific brand of toothpaste she insisted on. They moved through Target like a family, and it felt both natural and terrifying. Sunday, Linda called again. This time Calvin put her on speaker. "So you're taking care of my niece for 3 weeks. That's a big deal, Eden." "I know." "You've been dating my brother for what, a week?" "Officially, about a week. But we've known each other for 2 months." "And you think you're ready for this?" Eden glanced at Calvin, who was making frantic hand gestures. "Honestly, I have no idea. But I'm going to try." Linda was quiet. Then, "Good answer. Most people would pretend to be confident. At least you're honest. Violet's lucky to have you." After they hung up, Calvin pulled Eden aside. "You don't have to do this. I can still call Linda. Ask her to take time off work." "Do you want me to do this?" "I want you to be sure." "That's not what I asked. Do you want me to take care of your daughter?" Calvin's eyes were intense. "Yes, but not if it breaks you." "Then trust me not to break." "I do trust you. I'm just scared." "Me too. But we're doing it anyway." Sunday night, Eden couldn't sleep. Tomorrow, Calvin left for Denver. Tomorrow, she became responsible for a 7-year-old child. Tomorrow, everything changed. Her phone buzzed at 2 a.m. "Calvin, you awake?" "Yeah." "Me too. Violet's asleep, but I can't stop thinking about everything that could go wrong." "That makes 2 of us." "What if she has nightmares about Sarah, and I'm not there?" "Then I'll hold her like you would." "What if she gets sick?" "Then I'll take her to the doctor." What if she asks questions about her mom that I should answer, but you don't know how? Then I'll call you. Calvin, we're going to be okay. Promise? I can't promise that, but I promise I'll try my hardest. That's all I can ask. They stayed on the phone until 3 a.m. talking about nothing and everything. Finally, Calvin said, I should let you sleep. I'm not sleeping anyway. Me neither. But I should at least pretend. He paused. Thank you, Eden. For this. For all of it. Don't thank me yet. Wait until you come back and see if your daughter still likes me. She'll more than like you. She already loves you. The words sat heavy between them. Love. Nobody had said that word yet. It was too soon. Too fast. Too real. Get some sleep, Eden whispered. Big day tomorrow. You too. Call me if you need anything. Literally anything. I will. Good night, Calvin. Good night. Monday morning arrived too fast. Calvin dropped Violet off at 7 a.m. with a backpack full of clothes and a stuffed unicorn named Rainbow. He knelt down in Eden's doorway, saying goodbye, while Violet clung to his neck. I'll call every day, he promised. Morning and night. What if I miss you? Violet's voice was small. Then tell Eden and she'll call me immediately, okay? Okay. Calvin stood and looked at Eden. You have my number, my hotel, my supervisor's number, my sister's number, emergency contacts, everything. We'll be fine. If anything happens, we'll be fine, Eden repeated firmly. He kissed Violet's head, then quickly kissed Eden's cheek. Thank you. And then he was gone. The door closed. Eden and Violet stood in the apartment staring at each other. So, Eden said, ready for school? Violet nodded silently. She looked small suddenly. Lost. They drove to school in quiet. Eden walked her to the classroom like Calvin had instructed. Violet turned at the door. You'll be here at 3 to pick me up. I'll be here. Promise. I promise. Violet went inside. Eden drove home feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders like a lead blanket. 3 weeks. She could do 3 weeks. She had to. The first day wasn't terrible. Eden picked Violet up at 3 sharp. The little girl ran to her with a backpack bouncing and actually smiled. How was school? Good. My teacher asked where Daddy was and I said Denver, and she said that's far away, and I said yes, but Eden's taking care of me. What did she say to that? She said that's nice. Then Tommy asked if you're my new mom, and I said no, you're Daddy's girlfriend, and Tommy said that's basically the same thing. Eden's hands tightened on the steering wheel. What did you say? I said it's not the same, because I already had a mom and she died. Violet said it matter of fact, like discussing the weather. Tommy felt bad then. He said sorry. I said it's okay because I'm not sad about it anymore, except sometimes at night. Eden pulled into her apartment parking lot, trying to process 7-year-old logic and grief happening simultaneously. Do you want to talk about the sometimes at night part? Not really. Can we have mac and cheese for dinner? Sure. They made boxed mac and cheese together. Violet insisted on stirring even though she splashed cheese sauce everywhere. They ate on the couch watching a cartoon about talking animals. Normal, easy, fine. Calvin called at 7. Violet grabbed the phone so fast she nearly dropped it. Daddy, Denver is far away. Tommy said so. Eden made mac and cheese but not as good as yours, but I didn't tell her that because it would be rude. Eden could hear Calvin laughing through the speaker. They talked for 20 minutes. About school and Tommy and the cartoon they were watching. When Violet finally handed the phone back, her eyes were shiny. He misses us, she whispered. I know, baby. Do you miss him? Eden hadn't let herself think about it. About Calvin being gone. About sleeping alone after just getting used to good morning texts and good night calls. Yeah, I miss him. Me too. Bedtime was harder. Violet changed into pajamas covered in unicorns and climbed onto the air mattress Eden had set up. It looked lumpy and uncomfortable, but Violet didn't complain. "Will you read to me?" "Of course. What book?" Violet pulled out a worn copy of a fairy tale collection. "Daddy reads 2 stories every night. One I pick and one he picks." "Okay, you pick first." Violet chose a story about a princess who saved herself. Eden read it doing different voices for each character. Violet giggled at all the right parts. Then Eden picked a story about a dragon who was actually nice. By the end, Violet's eyes were drooping. "Good night, sweetheart." "Wait. You have to tuck me in, and turn on my nightlight, and check the closet for monsters." "There are no monsters." "I know, but you still have to check. Those are the rules." Eden checked the closet, tucked the blankets tight, turned on the butterfly nightlight Violet had brought from home. Better. "Yeah." "Eden." "Yeah." "Thank you for letting me stay here." "You're welcome." "I'm glad Daddy found you, at the restaurant, when that mean man was yelling." Eden's throat tightened. "Me too." She left the door cracked and went to her own room, sat on the bed, stared at her phone. 1 day down, 20 more to go. Day 2 started with Violet screaming at 6 a.m. Eden bolted from bed, ran to the living room, found Violet sitting straight up on the air mattress sobbing. "What's wrong? Are you hurt?" "I had a dream. Mommy was here, but then she wasn't. She was talking to me, and then she disappeared." Eden sat on the floor next to the mattress. "That sounds scary." It was, because it felt real. Like she was really here, and then she was just gone. Violet wiped her nose on her pajama sleeve. That's what happened in real life too. She was here, and then she wasn't. "I know. Does it hurt you that your mom died?" Eden blinked. "My mom's not dead. She lives in Florida." "Oh, then you don't understand." "You're right. I don't understand exactly what you're feeling. But I've lost people I loved. My grandma died when I was 12. It hurt for a long time." "Does it still hurt?" "Sometimes, but differently now. Like a bruise that's healing instead of a fresh cut." Violet thought about this. "I want my hurt to be a bruise, not a cut." "It will be, eventually, but it takes time." "How much time?" "I don't know. It's different for everyone." They sat in the quiet of early morning. Finally, Violet said, "Can I sleep in your bed? Just for tonight?" "Of course." They climbed into Eden's bed. Violet curled into her side, holding Rainbow the unicorn. Within minutes, she was asleep again. Eden lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering what she'd gotten herself into. Day 3. Violet forgot her homework at school. Day 4, she spilled juice all over Eden's work bag. Day 5, she announced she hated her teacher and refused to go to school. They were late. Eden's boss called asking where she was. Eden explained about Violet, and her boss sighed and said handle it. By day 7, Eden was exhausted. Night shifts were brutal. She'd sleep from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., wake up, pick up Violet, help with homework, make dinner, do bedtime routine, then go to work at 8 p.m. Repeat, forever. Calvin called every morning and night like clockwork. But the calls got shorter. He sounded tired. She sounded tired. They ran out of things to say besides Violet's doing fine, and I miss you, and only 2 more weeks. Day 9. Marcy showed up unannounced. "You look like hell." "Thanks, that's helpful." "When's the last time you slept more than 4 hours?" Eden couldn't remember. "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You're running yourself into the ground." Marcy pushed past her. "Where's Violet?" "School. I was about to sleep." "Good. Sleep. I'll pick her up at 3 and take her to my house. My kids can entertain her. You need a break." "I can't." "You can and you will. Go to bed, Eden. Too tired to argue, Eden went to bed. Slept until 5 p.m. Woke up disoriented and panicked. Called Marcy. She's fine. We're making pizza. You want me to bring her home or keep her for dinner? Keep her, please. I need to shower and eat something besides chicken nuggets. Done. I'll drop her off at 7. Eden showered for the first time in 2 days. Ate real food. Sat in silence. It felt like heaven. When Marcy dropped Violet off at 7, the little girl was buzzing with energy. Eden, Marcy's kids are so fun. Can I go back? Can they come here? Can we have a sleepover? Maybe this weekend. Promise? We'll see. Violet deflated. That's what grown-ups say when they mean no. After Violet went to bed, Eden called Calvin. This is hard. I know, I'm sorry. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's harder than I thought. Do you want me to come home? I can leave early. The job's almost done anyway. No. Stay. Finish. We're managing. Are you sure? Positive. Eden rubbed her eyes. How's Denver? Exhausting. The building's a nightmare, but the money's good. Worth it. They talked about nothing important until Calvin said, I miss you. Like actually miss you. Not just Violet. You. I miss you too. 10 more days. 10 more days. Eden repeated like a prayer. Day 11, the school called. Violet had gotten in a fight. Not physical, just yelling. But still. Eden had to leave work early. Again. Her boss was less understanding this time. At school, the principal's office felt like being called in herself for punishment. Violet sat in a chair, swinging her legs, looking defiant. The principal, a severe woman named Mrs. Henderson, looked annoyed. Violet called another student a bad word. Eden looked at Violet. What word? Stupid. I called Madison stupid. Why? Because she said my dad abandoned me. That he left me with a stranger because he didn't want me anymore. Eden's anger flared hot and immediate. She said what? Mrs. Henderson held up a hand. We've spoken to Madison as well. She's been disciplined. But Violet's response was inappropriate. She's 7. Someone told her she was abandoned. What kind of response did you expect? A more measured one. Violence isn't the answer. She didn't hit anyone. She called a girl stupid, which honestly sounds pretty measured considering what was said to her. Mrs. Henderson's eyes narrowed. And you are Eden Morrison. I'm caring for Violet while her father's working out of state. I see. And what's your relationship to the family? The question landed like an accusation. Eden felt herself shrink. We're dating. Her father and I. How long have you been dating? I don't see how that's relevant. It's relevant because Violet's exhibiting behavioral issues that weren't present before. And now, she's in the care of someone who isn't family and barely knows her. I know her plenty. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, this looks like a man leaving his grieving daughter with a girlfriend he's known for 2 months. Eden stood up. We're done here. Come on, Violet. Ms. Morrison. We're done. Eden grabbed Violet's hand and walked out. Her heart was pounding. Her hands were shaking. In the parking lot, Violet looked up at her with worried eyes. Am I in trouble? No, baby. You're not in trouble. Are you mad at me? No. I'm mad at that woman. And at Madison. But not at you. They drove home in silence. Inside the apartment, Eden collapsed on the couch, feeling like a failure. The principal was right. She wasn't family. She was a girlfriend of 2 months playing house with someone else's kid. What was she doing? Her phone rang. Calvin. She almost didn't answer. Hey, how was your day? Violet got in trouble at school. What? What happened? Eden explained. The fight, the principal, the questions. Calvin listened without interrupting. When she finished, he said quietly, I'm coming home. No. Eden, This is too much. I shouldn't have asked you to do this. Calvin, listen to me. Violet stood up for herself. Some bratty kid told her she was abandoned, and she called her stupid. That's not a behavioral problem. That's normal. The principal said, "The principal's an asshole who doesn't like that I'm not Violet's biological family. That's her problem, not ours." Are you sure? Eden looked at Violet, who was coloring at the kitchen table. Yeah, I'm sure. Don't come home. Finish the job. We're fine. I don't want to put you through this. Too late. I'm already through it. Might as well finish. They talked for another hour. Calvin apologized repeatedly. Eden reassured him repeatedly. By the end, they were both exhausted. Day 13 brought parent-teacher conferences. Eden showed up feeling like an imposter. Violet's teacher, Ms. Chen, was young and kind. Violet's doing well academically. She's bright, reads above grade level. Math is harder, but she tries. That's good. But I am concerned about her social interactions. She's been withdrawing from other students, sits alone at lunch, doesn't participate in group activities. Eden's chest tightened. Since when? The past week or so. I know her father's out of town. That might be affecting her. Yeah, probably. Are you family? I haven't seen you at pickup before? And there it was again. The question. Are you family? Are you legitimate? Are you enough? I'm her father's partner. I'm caring for her while he's working. Ms. Chen smiled. Well, she talks about you constantly. Eden this, Eden that. She clearly adores you. Really? Oh yes. Yesterday she told the whole class about how you checked her closet for monsters 3 times because you wanted to be really sure. Despite everything, Eden smiled. She's very specific about the monster checking protocol. She's a special kid. Just keep an eye on the social withdrawal. Maybe encourage playdates. Get her around other children. Eden promised she would. Walking back to her car, she called Marcy. Can your kids come over this weekend? Violet needs friends. Absolutely. Saturday work. Perfect. Saturday arrived with chaos. Marcy's 3 kids descended on Eden's small apartment like a tornado. They played games, made a fort, ate pizza. Violet laughed more than Eden had heard all week. But that night, after everyone left, Violet cried. What's wrong? I thought you had fun. I did. But Marcy's kids have a mom and a dad, and I just have a dad. And right now, I don't even have him because he's in Denver. Eden pulled her close. You have me. But you're not my mom. The words hit like a slap. True, undeniable, painful. You're right. I'm not your mom. I'll never be your mom. Your mom was Sarah and she was amazing and no one can replace her. Then what are you? I'm someone who loves your dad, and I'm someone who cares about you. Is that enough? Violet was quiet for a long time. I don't know. That's fair. Do you wish you didn't have to take care of me? No. Never. Even when I'm annoying. Even then. Even when I spilled juice on your work bag. Even then. Violet snuggled closer. Okay, you can stay. Eden laughed despite the tears in her eyes. Thanks for the permission. Day 15. Violet had therapy. Eden drove her to the appointment and waited in the lobby. Dr. Patel, the therapist, asked to speak with Eden afterward. How's she doing at home? She's okay. Some nightmares, some crying, but mostly okay. She mentioned you're not her parent. I'm not. I'm dating her father. She's confused about your role, doesn't know what to call you, doesn't know if it's okay to love you because that feels like betraying her mother. Eden's throat closed. What do I do? Be patient. Let her figure it out. Don't push. Just be there. I'm trying. I know. She told me you check for monsters. That's more than just trying. That's showing up. Driving home, Eden thought about showing up. She'd been showing up every day for 15 days. Making breakfast, checking homework, reading stories, checking closets, showing up. Maybe that was enough. Day 17, Calvin called, sounding wrecked. I can't do this anymore. I'm coming home. You have 4 days left. I don't care. I miss my kid. I miss you. This was a mistake. Calvin, breathe. What happened? Nothing happened. Everything's just wrong. I'm here making money we need, but I'm missing everything. Violet's therapy appointment, her school conference, her daily life, and you're doing it all alone and it's not fair. Life's not fair. That's not helpful. I know, but it's true. Eden switched the phone to her other ear. You're a good dad. You're working to provide for your kid. That's not wrong. It feels wrong. I know, but 4 more days. You can do 4 more days. Can you? I've done 17. What's 4 more? They talked until Calvin calmed down. After hanging up, Eden sat in her dark apartment feeling the weight of 3 weeks pressing on her chest. 4 more days. She could survive 4 more days. Day 18 brought another nightmare. Day 19 brought a fever. Violet woke up hot and miserable. Eden called in sick to work. Again. Her boss said they needed to talk when this was over. Eden said fine. She spent the day forcing fluids and taking temperatures and watching cartoons. Violet was clingy, whiny, miserable. Normal sick kid behavior, but Eden kept panicking. What if it was serious? What if it got worse? What if Calvin came home and his kid was sick because Eden didn't take good enough care of her? At 3 a.m., Violet's fever broke. Eden finally slept. Day 20. Eden woke to Violet standing next to her bed. Daddy comes home today. Tomorrow. He comes home tomorrow. That's today. It's morning now. Eden checked her phone. 6 a.m. You're technically right, but also wrong. He comes home tomorrow night. That's too long. I know, baby. Violet climbed into bed with her. They lay there in the early morning quiet. Eden. Yeah. I'm glad you took care of me, even though I was bad sometimes. You weren't bad. You were 7. Same thing. Eden smiled. Not quite. Will you still come over for spaghetti after Daddy's home? Do you want me to? Yeah. It's not Tuesday spaghetti without you anymore. Something in Eden's chest cracked open. Then I'll be there. They spent the day cleaning, getting ready for Calvin's return. Violet made a banner that said, "Welcome home, Daddy," with marker and glitter. Eden helped her hang it over the door. That night, Violet fell asleep early, exhausted from anticipation. Eden sat on her couch in the silent apartment and realized she'd done it. 20 days, almost 3 weeks. She'd kept a 7-year-old alive and mostly happy. Her phone buzzed. Calvin, landing in 2 hours, be there by 10. Is she asleep? Yeah, she tried to wait up but crashed at 7. Thank you. For everything. I'll never be able to thank you enough. Just get home safe. That's thanks enough. I love you. Eden stared at the words. 3 words. 8 letters. Said casually in a text like he'd said them 1,000 times before. She typed back, I love you too. And she meant it. Completely. Terrifyingly. Truly. At 10 p.m. exactly. Calvin's truck pulled into the parking lot. Eden heard footsteps on the stairs. A knock. She opened the door. Calvin stood there looking exhausted and beautiful and home. He pulled her into his arms without saying a word. Just held her. She melted into him, feeling 3 weeks of tension release all at once. She's asleep, Eden whispered. I know. I'll wake her in a minute. But first. He pulled back and looked at her. Really looked at her. Are you okay? I'm okay. Really. It was hard, really hard, but we survived. I got your text. Before I boarded. Yeah. Did you mean it? Every word. He kissed her then, slow and deep and full of everything they couldn't say out loud. When they broke apart, Calvin rested his forehead against hers. "Thank you for loving my daughter. Thank you for letting me." They woke Violet together. Her squeal of joy when she saw her father could probably be heard in Denver. She launched herself at him and didn't let go for a full 5 minutes. "I missed you so much." "I missed you too, baby girl." Eden took good care of me. She checked for monsters every night, and made breakfast every morning, and helped with my math homework even though I'm really bad at math. Calvin looked at Eden over Violet's head. "She sounds pretty great." "She is pretty great." Violet yawned. "Can we all have spaghetti tomorrow for Tuesday?" "It's Wednesday." "Can we have Wednesday spaghetti then?" Calvin laughed. "Yeah, we can have Wednesday spaghetti." He carried Violet to his truck. Eden watched them drive away feeling empty and full at the same time. Her apartment was quiet again, back to normal, back to just her. Except nothing felt normal anymore. Normal had shifted, changed, expanded to include Tuesday spaghetti and monster checks and a 7-year-old who wasn't hers but kind of was. Her phone buzzed. "Calvin. She's asleep. Thank you again. For everything. See you tomorrow for spaghetti." Eden typed back, "Wouldn't miss it." She crawled into bed, her own bed. No air mattress in the living room. No nightlight casting butterfly shadows. Just her and the silence and the knowledge that she'd survived the test. More than survived. She'd proven something to herself. That she was capable. That she could show up. That love wasn't just a feeling but a choice made daily in small moments. And she'd chosen it. Every single day for 20 days. She'd chosen them. Wednesday. Spaghetti felt different. Calvin cooked while Eden set the table, and Violet narrated everything that happened while her dad was gone. She talked fast, barely breathing between sentences, making up for 3 weeks of stored stories. And then Madison said I was abandoned, but I told her she was stupid, and Mrs. Henderson got mad. But Eden said Mrs. Henderson was wrong, and then we left, and Eden wasn't even scared of the principal. Calvin looked at Eden over the boiling pot. "You weren't scared of the principal?" "Terrified, actually. But Violet needed someone to stand up for her." "She called me barely family," Violet added. "Mrs. Henderson did. She said Eden wasn't real family because you're just dating." Calvin's jaw tightened. He turned off the stove. "She said what?" "It's fine," Eden said quickly. "I handled it." "It's not fine." Calvin wiped his hands on a towel. "I'm calling the school tomorrow." Calvin. "No, nobody talks about you like that. Nobody questions whether you're enough. You took care of my daughter for 3 weeks. You are family." The word hung in the air. Family. Eden felt it settle into her chest. Warm. Terrifying. Real. They ate spaghetti, and it tasted like home. After dinner, Violet fell asleep on the couch between them watching a movie. Calvin carried her to bed while Eden cleaned up the kitchen. When he came back, he pulled Eden close and just held her. "I meant what I said in that text." "I know." "Do you?" "Because saying I love you over text while you're exhausted and covered in glitter from Violet's craft project isn't exactly romantic." Eden laughed. "It was perfect." "I can do better." "You don't have to." "I want to." Calvin pulled back to look at her. "These 3 weeks showed me something. You're not just someone I'm dating. You're someone I need. Someone Violet needs. Someone who fits into our broken pieces and makes us whole again. I'm broken too." "I know. That's why it works." They kissed slow and deep. When they broke apart, Eden said, "What happens now?" "Now we figure out the rest of our lives." That's dramatic. That's honest. The next week, Eden met with her boss. The conversation didn't go well. "You've called in sick 4 times this month. Left early 3 times. Your performance is suffering. I was taking care of a child whose father was working out of state. That's admirable, but it's not my problem. This is a hospital. We need reliable staff." I'm reliable. I've worked here for 8 years. And in 8 years you've never missed this much work. What happens when this happens again? When this boyfriend needs you to drop everything?" Eden felt anger rising hot in her throat. "His name is Calvin, and he's not just some boyfriend. He's someone I love, someone whose daughter I care about." "Then maybe you need to decide what's more important, your career or playing house?" The words landed like a slap. Playing house. As if 3 weeks of monster checks and fever watches and homework help was playing. "I don't have to choose." "Actually, you do. Everyone has to choose. You can't be everything to everyone." Eden walked out, drove home, called Marcy. "She said I was playing house." "She's wrong." "What if she's right? What if I can't do both? Be a good nurse and be there for Violet and Calvin?" "Sarah did it. Sarah died doing it." Silence on the other end. Then Marcy said quietly, "That's not fair. Sarah died from a bee sting, not from work stress." "I know. I'm sorry. I'm just scared." "Of what?" "Of failing. At all of it. Work, relationship, parenting, everything." "You're not failing. You're learning. There's a difference." Eden wanted to believe her, wanted to believe she could balance everything. But doubt was easier than hope. That night at dinner, Calvin noticed something was wrong. "What happened?" "Work stuff, nothing important." "Eden, my boss basically said I need to choose between my job and you guys." Calvin set down his fork. "That's not a choice you should have to make." "But maybe she's right. Maybe I can't do both." "You did both for 3 weeks." "Barely. I was exhausted. My performance suffered. I almost got written up." "So we figure it out differently. I take fewer out-of-town jobs. We hire a better babysitter. We make it work." "What if we can't?" Calvin reached across the table and took her hand. "Then we'll fail together. But we're not failing. We're building something. And building is messy and hard and exhausting. That doesn't mean it's wrong." Violet looked between them with worried eyes. "Are you breaking up?" "No," they said together. "Good, because I already told my class you're my family now, and if you leave I'll look stupid." Despite everything, Eden laughed. "Can't have that." "Exactly. So you have to stay." Later, after Violet went to bed, Calvin and Eden sat on his back porch drinking beer and watching stars. "Tell me the truth," Eden said. "Does it scare you? How fast this is moving. Terrifies me. But you're still here. Because the alternative is worse. Going back to just me and Violet in this house with Sarah's ghost in every room. I can't do that anymore. I don't want to." "What about Sarah? How do you think she'd feel about us?" Calvin was quiet for a long time. "The night before she died, we talked about death. Not hers specifically, just death in general. She'd lost a patient that day. Kid she'd been caring for months. She came home devastated. I held her while she cried. That's awful. She said something that night, said if anything ever happened to her she wanted me to be happy, wanted Violet to be happy, said life was too short to spend it alone just because someone died. She really said that. Word for word. I thought she was being dramatic. Figured we had 50 more years. Turns out we had 12 more hours." Eden's throat closed. "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry. Be here. That's what she would have wanted." "How do you know?" "Because I knew her. And she knew me. And she knew I'd fall apart without someone to love. That's just how I'm built." Calvin turned to Eden. "I'm choosing you. Every day. Is that enough?" "Yeah, that's enough." Thanksgiving arrived faster than Eden expected. Calvin's sister Linda flew in from Portland with her husband and 2 teenage sons. The house filled with noise and chaos and food. Linda pulled Eden aside within 5 minutes of arrival. "So, you're the woman who took care of my niece for 3 weeks." "That's me." "Calvin says you're amazing. Violet says you check for monsters better than anyone. Those are high recommendations." "I did my best." Your best saved my brother. He was drowning after Sarah died, barely holding it together. Then you showed up." Linda hugged her suddenly. "Thank you." Eden hugged back, feeling like maybe she'd passed another test she didn't know she was taking. Dinner was loud. Everyone talked over each other. Linda's husband told terrible jokes. Her sons argued about football. Violet showed everyone her latest drawings. Calvin kept catching Eden's eye across the table and smiling. This was family. Messy, loud, imperfect, real. After dinner, while everyone else watched football, Linda cornered Eden in the kitchen. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Sure." "Are you in love with my brother?" Eden didn't hesitate. "Yes." "Like really in love? Not just swept up in the romance of being someone's hero. Really in love." "Good. Because he's in love with you too, like stupid in love. The kind where he talks about you constantly and smiles at his phone. I haven't seen him like this since Sarah." "Does that bother you, that he's moving on?" "God, no. Sarah would have wanted this. She loved Calvin too much to want him miserable forever." Linda loaded the dishwasher. "But I need to know you're serious, that you're not going to wake up one day and realize this is too hard and leave, because that would destroy him. And Violet." "I'm not leaving." "You say that now." "I took care of his daughter for 3 weeks. I checked for monsters every night and made breakfast every morning and helped with homework I barely understood. I called in sick to work. I fought with principals. I held her while she cried about her dead mother. I'm not doing all that just to leave." Linda studied her face, then smiled. "Good answer. Welcome to the family." That night, lying in Calvin's bed after everyone else was asleep, Eden said, "Your sister interrogated me." "I know. I told her not to. She needed to make sure I was serious." Are you really asking me that? After everything?" Calvin rolled to face her. "I'm asking because I want to marry you, and I need to know if you want that too." Eden's heart stopped. "What? Not now, not tomorrow, but someday. I want to marry you. Want you to be Violet's stepmom officially. Want us to be a real family." "We are a real family. You know what I mean." Eden did know. Knew the difference between choosing to be together and making it permanent, legal, forever. "Ask me again in 6 months." "Why 6 months?" "Because I want to be sure. I want us both to be sure. I don't want to rush this and mess it up." "Fair enough. 6 months." Calvin kissed her forehead. "But I'm telling you now, 6 months from now I'm asking, and I'm hoping you say yes. We'll see." "You're going to say yes?" "Confident." "Correct." The months passed in a blur of ordinary life. Tuesday spaghetti dinners became a ritual. Eden moved more of her clothes into Calvin's house, then more of her things. Then one day she realized she'd basically moved in without any official conversation. "Should we talk about this?" she asked one morning. "About what?" "About the fact that I'm living here." Calvin looked up from making coffee. "You want to talk about it? Do you?" "Not particularly, unless you want to leave." "I don't want to leave." "Then we're good." "That's it." "That's it. You live here now. Congratulations." Eden laughed. "Most romantic move and announcement ever. I'll put it on a cake later." Her boss at the hospital wasn't thrilled about her adjusted schedule, but couldn't fire her for taking care of a child. Eden found a rhythm. Worked 4 10-hour shifts instead of 5 8s. Was home for dinner most nights. Made it work. Violet's therapy sessions continued. Slowly, gradually, she started calling Eden by her name without hesitation. Started including her in stories about school. Started saying things like, "Eden and I," instead of just "I." One night, 6 months almost to the day after Thanksgiving, Violet asked Eden to help with a school project. "It's about families. I have to draw my family tree." Eden pulled out construction paper and markers. "Okay, let's start with your grandparents." "Which ones, mommy's parents or daddy's parents?" "Both." They drew names and connected them with lines. Added Calvin. Added Sarah. Added Violet. "Where do you go?" Violet asked. Eden's hand froze. "I don't know. Where do you think I should go?" Violet thought about it. Drew a line from Calvin to Eden. "Right here, because you're Daddy's person. And you're my person too. So you go here." "Are you sure?" "Yeah. You're family. Even if Mrs. Henderson doesn't think so." "Mrs. Henderson's still being difficult." "She stopped after Daddy yelled at her on the phone, but I know she still thinks it." Violet added a heart next to Eden's name. "I don't think it, though. I think you're exactly where you're supposed to be." Eden pulled her into a hug. "Thank you, sweetheart." "You're welcome. Can we have ice cream now?" "Nice try. Homework first." That weekend, Calvin took Eden to Rosewood Cafe, the same cafe where everything started. Mr. Castellano, the owner, who Eden had never officially met but heard about from Calvin, greeted them at the door. "The couple. The famous couple, you're back." "We've been meaning to come back," Calvin said. "Just took us a while." "No matter. You're here now. Your table is ready." He led them to the same table where Trevor had humiliated Eden and Calvin had intervened. Eden sat down feeling the weight of that night. 7 months ago. A lifetime ago. "Why here?" she asked. "Because this is where we started. Seemed fitting." They ordered lasagna and tiramisu, the same meal from that first night. When it arrived, Calvin pulled out a small box. Eden's heart started racing. "Calvin, I said 6 months. It's been 6 months." "It's been exactly 6 months tomorrow." "Close enough." He opened the box. Inside was a simple gold ring with a small diamond. "I'm not good at speeches. Sarah always said I talk too much when I'm nervous, so I'm going to keep this short." "Okay." "Eden Morrison, you walked into my life on the worst night of yours. You were broken. I was broken. We were two disasters who had no business falling in love. But we did. And you loved my daughter when you didn't have to. And you loved me when I was still grieving my wife. And you never asked me to choose between my past and my future. You just stood there and waited until I was ready." Tears were already streaming down Eden's face. "I'm ready now. I've been ready for months. I want you to be my wife. Want you to be Violet's stepmom. Want us to keep making Tuesday spaghetti for the next 50 years. Will you marry me?" Eden looked at this man who'd stood up for her when no one else would, who'd trusted her with his daughter, who'd chosen her every single day. "Yes." "Really?" "Really." Calvin slid the ring on her finger with shaking hands. It fit perfectly. They kissed across the table while Mr. Castellano rang a bell and announced to the whole restaurant that the couple who started at this table was now engaged. Everyone applauded. Eden laughed through her tears. Calvin held her hand like he'd never let go. They called Violet from the car, put her on speaker. "Really, you're getting married for real?" "For real," Eden confirmed. "Can I be the flower girl?" "Obviously. Can we have a unicorn cake?" Calvin laughed. "We'll discuss the unicorn cake." This is the best day ever. Linda called next, then Marcy, then everyone they knew. By the time they got home, Eden's phone was exploding with congratulations. They found Violet waiting on the porch with Aunt Linda, who'd been babysitting. The little girl launched herself at them both. "I knew it. I knew Daddy was going to ask. He kept acting weird all week." "I wasn't acting weird," Calvin protested. "You were totally acting weird. You cleaned the house. You never clean the house." That night, after Violet finally fell asleep talking about wedding dresses and flowers and unicorn cakes, Calvin and Eden lay in bed staring at the ceiling. "We're engaged," Eden said. "We're engaged." "That's crazy." "Yeah. I love you. I love you too." They got married 4 months later. Small ceremony in Violet's school gym because Violet insisted all her classmates needed to be there. Linda flew in. Marcy was maid of honor. Violet wore a purple dress and carried a basket of flower petals she threw with theatrical flair. Mrs. Henderson attended. Sat in the back, looking like she'd swallowed something sour. Eden didn't care. The ceremony was short. They wrote their own vows. Calvin promised to keep making spaghetti. Eden promised to keep checking for monsters. Violet stood between them, holding both their hands. When the officiant said they could kiss, everyone cheered. Violet loudest of all. The reception was held at Rosewood Cafe. Mr. Castellano catered. The tiramisu was perfect. There was no unicorn cake, but there was a regular cake with a unicorn on top, which Violet declared acceptable. During the first dance, Calvin whispered, "Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for asking. Think we'll make it?" "Yeah, I think we'll make it." They made it. Years passed in the beautiful chaos of family life. Violet grew up, got braces, started middle school, wrote an essay about having two moms, and only one of them died, but both of them loved her. Eden read it and cried. Calvin framed it. They had twins when Violet was 12. Twin boys who screamed constantly and never slept. Violet helped. Complained constantly, but helped. "This is what you wanted," she'd say at 3 a.m., while Eden walked a crying baby around the living room. "Apparently." "You're insane." "Probably." But they were happy, exhausted, covered in baby spit up, but happy. Every Tuesday they went to Rosewood Cafe, even when the twins were crying. Even when Violet had homework. Even when Calvin was exhausted from work. Every Tuesday without fail. Mr. Castellano kept their table reserved, started ringing a bell whenever they arrived, announced to the whole restaurant that the family who proved love starts with kindness was here. Eden never got tired of it. One Tuesday when Violet was 15 and the twins were 3, they sat at their usual table. Violet was texting. The twins were coloring. Calvin and Eden were drinking coffee and stealing bites of each other's meals. "Remember the first time we came here?" Eden asked. "How could I forget you were crying? Trevor was being an asshole. I was trying to be a hero." "You were a hero." "I was terrified." "Me too." Violet looked up from her phone. "You guys are so sappy." "We're romantic," Calvin corrected. "Same thing." But she was smiling. One of the twins dropped a crayon. Eden bent to pick it up. When she straightened, she saw them. Her family. Calvin stealing a breadstick. Violet rolling her eyes, but laughing. The twins making a mess. This was her life. This noisy, chaotic, imperfect life. And it was beautiful. That night, lying in bed after everyone else was asleep, Calvin pulled Eden close. "You ever regret it? Saying yes to all this?" "Never. Not even when the twins were screaming at 3 a.m.? Not even then." "Good. Because I'm never letting you go." "Good. I'm never leaving." They fell asleep like they always did. Tangled together. Exhausted. Happy. Years later, when Violet graduated high school and gave a speech about resilience and family, and the people who choose to love you even when they don't have to, she thanked Eden by name. Called her the woman who taught her that family isn't about biology. It's about showing up. The whole auditorium stood and applauded. Eden cried. Calvin held her hand. When they got home that night, Violet hugged Eden tight. "Thank you for showing up. All those years ago. Thank you for staying. Thank you for letting me. I love you. I know I don't say it enough, but I love you. I love you too, sweetheart." "Not sweetheart anymore. I'm 18. "You'll always be sweetheart." Violet laughed. "Fair enough." On their 10th wedding anniversary, Calvin and Eden went back to Rosewood Cafe alone, just the two of them. Mr. Castellano seated them at their table, brought them lasagna and tiramisu without asking. 10 years, Calvin said. "We made it 10 years. Told you we'd make it." "You were right. I'm always right." That's debatable. They ate slowly, talked about everything and nothing, about Violet starting college, about the twins starting kindergarten, about the decade they'd built together. When the check came, Calvin pulled out his wallet. Eden noticed the edge of a photo sticking out. Sarah, smiling, still there. You still carry her picture, always will. She's part of my story, part of who I am. I know. Does it bother you? No. She made you who you are, the man I fell in love with. I'm grateful to her. Calvin's eyes got shiny. She would have liked you, would have loved that Violet has you, would have been happy we're happy. I hope so. I know so. They walked out of Rosewood Cafe hand in hand, the place where everything began, where a cruel rejection became a beautiful beginning, where two broken people found each other in the wreckage and decided to build something new. 10 years, 3 kids, countless Tuesday dinners, thousands of monster checks, one beautiful, messy, imperfect life. And Eden Morrison, the nurse who'd once believed she was too much and too broken to love, finally understood the truth. She wasn't too anything. She was exactly enough. For Calvin, for Violet, for their whole chaotic family. Sometimes the worst moment of your life is actually the beginning of your best life. Sometimes cruel rejection leads you exactly where you need to be. Sometimes a stranger becomes family. Sometimes broken people heal each other. Sometimes love wins. And this time, love won.